tanks that they feed the pool constant to the automatic feeders, they are right there to the open.
I'm not talking kids, I'm
Okay,
talking
so-
about inventory of stuff that's sitting in
Oh, no,
there.
no,
I know
no, no,
it's right.
that's not
But
what
I-
they're addressing.
Yeah.
No,
All right,
we're
so-
talking
so
about that.
I would like to speak to it just briefly. How this all started, it was built to code, it was finished, it was fine. The noise level to 1 or 2 unit owners in Botanica is louder than it was before. So the board looked into ways to mitigate the noise and came up with a solution prior to this solution that did not constitute an eyesore, was not really a material alteration, it was very minimal.
We just covered the equipment.
It was
better,
covered the
and
equipment and it
insulate
was
better,
supposed to
and
minimize,
And it's-
mitigate the noise,
Yeah.
probably down to where it was before. Somewhere in one of the meetings, it was discussed, well, why don't we try to mitigate the noise down to 0 and build a bunker? So there are options that are not this. So the material alteration, really, you can't get around it because there are options to mitigate the noise. And
I disagree with you,
Yeah.
the
The other one was a material
the
alteration.
land structure, and Tom looked at this, who has experience.
Well, this is a
with
material
generators and
alteration.
stuff, and it was Tom's opinion, and also my opinion, that if you have open air, if you have slats, you will not mitigate the sound.
and Tony, that's actually exactly what I said, is
Yeah.
that
Will
it
not mitigate
mitigated the
sound at
sound,
all.
but not to the point where the bunker will mitigate the sound. You're saying exactly what I
Won't
said.
mitigate, the slats will not mitigate the sound at all.
There was an engineering opinion that it would mitigate the sound, just not as much as the bunker,
Okay, we disagree with that too. All right,
to clarify.
so, Rosa, a question. If it turns out that we have original photographs, which Maria is saying, that is a flat thing, would we be required to replace it exactly how it was built with wood, flat, or could we go
I mean,
with a
normally-
design like the one in the upper right-hand corner? That's fine.
Normally it has to be aesthetically as close as possible, but there may be factors that give you some wiggle room. For example, an input from the engineer or architect saying the materials are better, you know, whatever. Code,
Current code, I mean,
you know.
this was built
wings.
before Hurricane Andrew, so the
Yeah.
codes are all new.
So we could rely on that,
Okay.
assuming that,
Okay.
that they give us the necessary information.
Yep.
I think that'd be fine. Okay.
Okay, so the direction of the board is that we get additional information and then show whatever photographs we have to the architect and go with a design that would be the closest thing to that with new materials.
Try to minimize the sound, the size of the bunker
Yeah,
down to
and-
the level
and-
of
yeah,
the
right.
railing if possible.
Reduce the size of the bunker. So this may, you know, I don't know if it's gonna cost us more money. I'll run it by him to see.
What are you calling this space?
This is
The lap pool.
Lap pool.
The-
Blackpool deck.
Sun
Lap
deck
pool
and
deck, yeah.
equipment enclosure.
Now, go back to the cover one.
Tony,
Yeah, that one, okay.
Tony, if we're gonna have a town hall meeting about electronic voting, why don't we add this to it? The owners all plan into it.
Yeah, no, I think it's,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because this guy's
No,
gonna
that's
be
it.
here soon.
Yeah, that's
Let's put them all together.
that's the purpose of this, to get this out, and we can do like a poll, and if we get, buy-in, and then we're okay. All right, so, the other idea was that, and then to have it covered, so that you would have shade as well as, just decorative, and from rain, so, all right.
Okay, landscape committee.
Landscape.
Is that the last one?
Yeah, landscape committee, we're to the point on, we're finally getting around to cutting trees down. And it's originally started out with about 23 trees that Brightview had recommended. And after some discussion, it was reduced to 14. And we received a price, well, first it was 20,000 and we negotiated them down to 17,000 for doing the 14 trees, which in some, but anyway, today they went, a group went around from the landscape committee and looked at it again, and there might be some more trees that can be pulled out of there. So it could be reduced. What were you thinking, Michelle, to 10? But right now, the only quotation we have is for the 14 trees at $17,000. And what I'd like you to do is authorize us to go ahead to spend up to $17,000 if need be. However, it will likely be less as we remove some trees, and we'll negotiate that down to a fair price.
I'll make that
Okay,
motion.
discussion.
I'll make the motion.
I-
It's not done the motion.
Yeah, you make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, the recommendation.
Is there a
from
second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, it's been
I'd just
moved and
like to
seconded.
ask-
Discussion now.
I'd just like to ask
Yeah.
Tom or the committee, what's the process that we follow to get from 23 to 14 trees? And before you answer, because I remember our arborist has been in here a couple times,
She
kind
has.
kind of scolding us that amateurs like us like to have trees, too many trees, packed too close together, that are top heavy and not well maintained, and then those trees, collapse in storms and stuff. And so, are we overruling the arborist to get from 23 to 14 and just going with our own sentimentality, or is there some process that we follow that's more
Well, I
objective?
mean, that's a tough one. I don't know what to say. We have a committee.
No,
Yeah,
I have
Michelle
the
has
answer
a comment
because I
on that.
asked.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead,
There's
Michelle.
some trees that from then to now, they have fall down,
Right,
so they're.
so some of the 23 are already down, is what you're saying?
Five or six of them,
Okay.
they were already down,
Okay.
and there are other trees, they decided not to remove them,
They
Okay.
come back.
to just keep it and. to
So
give
all,
it
so
a-
just, I guess my real question is, this list of trees that we're removing has been endorsed by our arborist?
That's
Right.
correct.
Yes, correct.
And so,
However,
okay,
yes,
because
however.
that's all my only concern, is that I know that when we get involved in trees, and I'm as much to blame as anybody, we say, oh, isn't there some way we can save that tree? And then we end up throwing good money after bad, and then that tree comes down in a storm anyway, and we spend all this money maintaining a tree that was top heavy and
It could be that.
top heavy, not well maintained.
But I'll say this, we have some serious safety issues out there. There are a number of trees that have to come down, and I mean, they're a danger to the community. And then we have some that are, I guess, a little more marginal than that, but I mean, there's no question, it's somewhat, in some cases, it's somewhat subjective, okay?
May I make a comment? Yeah, Joe, go ahead.
I just, being on the landscape committee last year, I can attest to the fact that we really need, when we're discussing removal of trees, we need to break them down by category. Like, to me, the number one is the liability. There's one around the bend, going down the North Perimeter Road. As you go around Botanica, you take the left in front of their pool, there's a tree there that is a major liability.
It is on
And
the
we had to
list.
wait for,
It is on the list.
then I know that's on the list and everything, but we need to focus on these liability. There's trees that are already dead that need to come down, that's a no-brainer. But there's trees that look good and everything, they're hanging on a thread, and all we need is not even a hurricane, a tropical storm, or winds with 50, 60 miles an hour. It can create a liability for this complex. They need to
So
address
that's what
it.
I'm saying is, why don't we just go ahead and let's get it funded, let's figure out what trees have to come down, and let's get it done before the hurricane season, and not go through another month of discussing it.
Exactly, I agree.
Hey, Tom, these are not trees that can be replanted somewhere else, another community.
And we're gonna be replanting 20-some odd trees, okay?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I just-
Anybody
No,
ask a question?
There's ones that,
We have a motion on the table.
Yeah, there's a motion on the table, discussion, I'd like to put my 2 cents in if I may. I think it's important that, Joe made an important point, anything with a liability that is a danger has to go. And I believe, Michelle, the ones that you pointed out
We did a very well to do the.
have a liability, we're getting rid of it. Now, experience with Brightview. Brightview, when they do work at Emerald Bay. 25 years ago, they pointed out a tree that was sick, it's gonna die, get rid of it right now. And I said, let's wait until it dies. It's not gonna harm anybody, it's not a danger. That tree is in beautiful shape 25 years later. They were wrong. Why? Because they tend to think, we get rid of this marginal tree and I'll sell you another one. Okay? They're motivated economically to do this. That's what Brightview does for a living. That's their model. That's their business model. So,
No, not exactly.
well, that's part of their business model. Okay? Now, so what I'd say is the following. If there are trees that are a hazard, danger, we get rid of them. If there are trees that are marginal and there's nothing that they can be saved and may be saved. And to Matt's point, yes, there are trees that need to be shaped properly, and we need to do that. If we can save them, 6 months from now, we may say we can't save them anymore and we get rid of it. But why do it now? You can't replace a tree that you cut down, but you can cut down a tree that you left. So let's leave a couple of trees that Michelle has a lot of
But
experience
that's what
with.
was applied today. I think today was a very healthy walkthrough, and we agreed that why to take it down, show where the tree is sick, the roots are decayed or damaged or something. The ones that they didn't, we just decided that they are not going to remove, like the beautiful Ponciana.
For now,
that's
for now.
time
We'll
to
later.
keep
That's
it.
what I said, let's focus on the liability.
Yeah,
Yeah, the liability, we can remove these later if they turn out to be an
Yeah.
issue.
Okay.
So,
You have
So
a motion,
vote.
I will second.
so why don't we do the following, and Tom, if it's okay, you know, as you as chair,
No,
because
you
I
go ahead.
want to respect.
Tony, we have a motion on the table. Are you gonna modify it or?
Friendly amendment, okay? Okay. We have an estimate to do the trees that you're recommending, or what?
$17,000.
Well,
No.
not up to 17,000. It's gonna be less because we
Okay, so you'll negotiate
lowered
that.
some trees today.
Okay.
And
That's what
Tom
I'm
and
saying.
I
All right,
will
okay.
work.
Authorize us
Okay.
to, you know.
That's it.
All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Discussion?
Opposed?
Discussion, please?
Give us a.
Sorry, okay.
Did anybody oppose?
Few of us were in the walkthrough today. Unfortunately, Tom, who I think has done a great job working on this, couldn't go with us. But I was there, Maria was there, and a few others. I don't think any of us are stupid enough to want to keep something that is a hazard. Those are logical. Yet I'm going to say for what Tony mentioned, I'm the one who made all the trouble when they chopped down the whole canopy. And the fact is that we got 10 trees given back